Well, welcome. We are here. We are here. All manner of good things will come to us now. And I'm so grateful you are here, whether you're joining me here on YouTube or via podcast, listening in your own sacred time. And for those who are listening on my podcast, I'm in my sunroom and I'm being blinded by the sun, but it's wonderful and it feels so good. So we're going to embrace it. I just look extra sparkly. And if you hear my dog, well, it's because you hear my dog. He's in here with me too. I don't know where my little one is, my little shortkie, but maybe she's around here somewhere. We'll hear her. But anyways, let's begin. So we are here again, joining in on my temple series. Now, the series began in my yurt, and a space now that sisters have lovingly called yurt, which is, I think, is hilarious. It gets me every time. And this series is an extension of that same spirit, a place where the feminine voice is welcomed. And we are journeying through the Gospel of Mary Magdalene. And we're going through all the sacred powers, and we are now entering the kingdom of the flesh. Ooh, sounds like a good one. And so a few things I want to share before we dived in. And I've been reflecting on this, and I shared this in Yurt just last weekend. And I've been noticing lately a lot in my healing practice. I do energy work as well here in my home, in the sunroom, in fact. And a lot of clients that have been coming, I've been noticing a same theme over and over again. People are searching, they are reaching, trying to find their purpose, and trying to find or feel connected to the divine, whatever you want to call it. But they find that they only can feel that connection through effort, such as going to classes and meditations, sound baths, or even plant medicine. All of those are beautiful. All of it is meaningful. I like to hold classes too. And yet so often it is still a reaching energy. It's outward. And then it becomes where it's a task, like meditation becomes a task. Joy feels like condition, and spirituality becomes something we must access outside of ourselves. So, yeah. And I keep feeling that the same quiet truth rise up, that there is nothing missing. There isn't, and there is really no purpose to achieve. People really hate coming to see me. The purpose is to be, and I share that all the time. The purpose is to have a human experience. So they're doing it just beautifully. I say, there's nothing wrong with you. The purpose is to be human, to be here, to inhabit this life fully. That is the divine, and you can feel the divine in every moment. It is here. It's quiet. It's subtle. It's soft. It's a knowing. Yeah. And this is why these teachings matter so deeply right now. And so this is why we're doing temple. And for those just joining me now and not too sure what's happening, I will do a recap, but you can always go back and listen to the other episodes where I talk about why I was inspired to do this. But anyways, we're here to remember. And it's not so people to learn something new, but so people can begin remembering their own power within them right here. And so many of the stories we've been given, that we've heard over time, I find are missing key pieces. And what's missing is the softening, the quiet, the inner truth. what many traditions would call the feminine, the yin energy. And when we only have one story, when only one story is honored, the story of action, control, dominance, achievement, the yang, the male version of stories, this is when things become unbalanced. And this is what we're experiencing right now, the unbalance. And for me personally, I love to look to nature because nature, I think, is the wisest teacher. And nature shows us how harmony works. There is movement and stillness in nature. I love being in the sunroom because I'm just looking at the trees and the birds right now and seeing the stillness in action, because we still have snow on the ground. The trees have no leaves, so it's really quiet. Not a lot of movement. The animals are not as busy. So nature is embodying that yin energy, that stillness. Also, right now we are just past Imbolc, so there's balance where the light's returning, and we're seeing that it's getting brighter in the morning. So nature holds dark and light at the same time. Nature holds rest and action, above and below. Yeah, it's a living, beautiful dance. But spirituality or religion, or whatever you want to call it, we're handed a one-sided experience, one-sided story. And imbalance anywhere creates suffering. Yeah, it does. So this really isn't about gender. It's not about male or female or anything in between. It's about balance. And this is why we're here, to listen to another story. And yeah, and that story is hers, just so that we can bring that balance back. And we began with Mary Magdalene, as you know, or some of you might not know, you might be just joining me for the first time. And it just felt like that was the right beginning. Her story carried something that was considered dangerous. The idea that your connection to the divine lives within you, that you are already sacred, that freedom is not something you earn. No, there is no sacred staircase to climb. Heaven is not somewhere else. It is here, in your heart, in your body, in your breath, in your lived experience. And that kind of knowing cannot be controlled. Nope. And I like to think of that like the energy of a sacred grandmother. And I don't know, I was just blessed with this very sacred grandmother, crone, who knew who she was. Nothing rattled her, or not that I could see. Nothing needs proving. Her presence alone carries authority. A human who sees clearly and chooses consciously is one that cannot be controlled, So I had this grandmother that just like knew who she was. She would just look at you. And if you were being loud and obnoxious, just her look, you knew, nope, quiet. She just had such a power within her that carried this balance of that yin and yang, Yeah, it was a beautiful dance. It just reminds me of nature. Anyways, someone in the power like that cannot be controlled. And that, for me, is the power of Mary's teachings. And so, of course, her teachings were rewritten. Her wisdom was distorted. Her 7 powers, the 7 gospels, these inner states of consciousness, were turned into sins. And she herself was to be shaped into something she never was. Not because she was weak, but because her teachings made people sovereign, made them free, rooted, just like my grandma, just rooted in who she was, unshakable. And yeah, those people that you can't control them, right? So some of you have already heard this. You repeated this over the last episodes, but repetition is how forgetting unravels, and truth isn't to be rushed. It's a gentle unfolding. And because these half-told stories have been layered over us for centuries, and remembering takes time. And this is why we're here, not to convince, not to convert, but to gently, patiently restore balance within ourselves and within the story. And for those joining us for the first time, you'll hear me speak often about the mind of the heart. So that language comes from a moment in the Gospel of Mary where Mary recalls a conversation with Jesus. And she asks whether true vision comes through the soul or the spirit. And he responds that it is the new, and new is spelt N-O-U-S, the mind of the heart. That's what it is translated into, the mind of the heart that truly sees right here. And this teaching tells us that knowing does not come from outside authority or ritual, but from inner awareness, from lived, embodied truth. And this is Mary's teaching at its core. That's what she calls higher. What she calls higher is actually going deeper. That's what her teaching is. What is called higher is actually going deeper within. So it's not climbing the staircase, it's going inward. And remembering is what brings us home to ourselves. So, yeah, just a little recap. Okay, so before we carry on, let's just take a moment to arrive, not just in the circle, but in ourselves. So I invite you to place one hand on your heart, the eye of your heart, your new, the place that knows before the mind knows. And I invite you to take a slow, deep breath in and a long, deep breath out. And maybe we'll do that 3 more times. Breathing once with intention of dropping down into your body, breathing in. And drop down to your bodies. And the second breath, we'll breathe in with an intention of dropping into the heart, into your mind of the heart. Breathing in, and drop down to the mind of your heart. And then with the third breath, let's breathe in with the intention of dropping down into the divine within. Breathing in and dropping to the divine, to the divinity within. Allowing yourself to drop beneath the stories. And you may want to ask yourself, what is actually present in me right now? Right now. What is present in me right now? Not what should be there. Not what was there yesterday or long ago. Just what is here in this moment. Maybe it's fear, unease, grief or exhaustion. Or maybe it's lightness, clarity and hope. There's no right or wrong. All of it belongs. And as you notice what's present, imagine that awareness settling into your body, into the heart, into the quiet divine spark within you. And from this place, feel a circle begin to form, not outside of you, but from within you. A came of remembrance, soft, steady, alive. And feel this circle expand gently to include your whole being. And then expand into the space between us until we are held together in one shared field of presence. And within this circle, notice the elements awakening. Air moving through the breath. Fire alive in the heart. Water flowing through the emotional body. Earth steady beneath and within you. These are not forces we call in. They are forces we remember. Feel them settle. Feel the circle hold what you're carrying. You may want to place a hand on your heart and simply breathe into your center. And softly say inwardly or out loud, I honor the temple within. The game is cast, and we are held. So be it, and so it is. All right. So let's do a recap of the 7 powers before we dive in to the next teaching. So we'll go over the ones that we've already went through. So the 7 powers named in the Gospel of Mary are not sins to overcome or tests to pass. They are inner movements of consciousness. They're inner movements of experiences every human soul encounters as they learn how to remember oneself. We do not conquer these powers, we meet them. We learn from them. We integrate them. So here are the 4 that we've walked through already. So we've walked through the first power of darkness. Darkness is the beginning. It is not evil. It is not a punishment. It is not failure. Darkness is the womb, the place of gestation, rest, and becoming, where life is formed. It is the pause before clarity, the soil where something new begins to form. Darkness arrives when life asks us to slow down, to dissolve old identities and rest in the unknown. It's a time to lean into trust and stop. I don't know what I'm doing. And to lean into that, just trusting all is well. It is letting go of our control. This power teaches us to stop forcing, to rest instead of perform, to feel instead of numb, to trust without certainty, to not fear the unknown. Darkness is not where the soul is lost. It is where the soul is held. Breathe that in and breathe that out. And then the second power we weave through is craving. Craving is the soul's first movement towards life. It is the ache of being alive, the longing for connection, for beauty, for truth, for intimacy and meaning. There's that purpose, that craving for purpose. Craving itself is not wrong. It is not sinful or shameful. It is human. It is holy. Craving has, I find, two expressions. It's either led by the ego, and that's where you'll see it showing up as seeking control, as safety, as validation, and certainty. And when it's led by the heart, the eye of the heart, the soul, it shows up in a way where it's seeking truth, creativity, it's expression, self-expression, it's love, it's expansion, right? Craving becomes distorted only when it pulls us away from ourselves. So the question is never, why do I crave? The real question is, where is this craving leading me? And then we go into the third power, ignorance. Oh boy, ignorance is not the lack of intelligence. It might feel like it, but it's forgetting. It's spiritual amnesia. It is the veil that forms when conditioning, when fear and old stories pull us away from our inner knowing. Ignorance sounds like this. It could sound like, I don't trust myself. Something is wrong with me. I have to earn love. I don't know who I am. And ignorance can also sound like, my way is the only right way. And we are seeing a lot of that right now. We're saying, if it's different, it must be wrong. If it's different from what I know or what I see, it's wrong. Sounds like, I don't trust what I don't understand. We're seeing a lot of ignorance right now, my perspective anyways. It sounds like I need certainty to feel safe. This power causes us to doubt our intuition, disconnect from the body, outsource authority, and forget our inherent goodness. And it can also cause us to other people who are different from us. And we're seeing a lot of that. It causes us to close our hearts and instead of staying curious. It confuses certainty with truth, and it replaces listening with judgment. So, ignorance in this sense isn't stupidity, it's forgetting our shared humanity. It's fear masquerading as knowing. But ignorance is not the enemy. No, it's not. It is a moment before remembering. The place where the soul begins to whisper, there is more. There is more. And then that led us to the fourth power, craving for death. Ooh, that's a big one. Craving for death is not a desire to die. It is the soul's exhaustion, the longing for the pain to stop, the wish to disappear, to numb out, or end the struggle of being human. And many of you, I'm sure, have felt this. I know I have. This power arises when darkness is feared instead of trusted, when craving becomes misdirected. Ignorance convinces us there is no way through. This power arises when darkness is feared instead of trusted, when craving becomes misdirected and ignorance convinces us that there is no way through. Craving for death is not failure. It is a cry for relief, a longing for rest, a deep call for remembrance. When met with compassion, when craving for death is met with compassion, this power becomes an invitation back to life, not through force, but through gentleness. So for me, this is how these powers work so far. So those are the 4 that we've gone through already. And you can re-listen to them on the previous episodes I've recorded. But how these powers work together. These powers are not linear. They're cyclical. They move through, we move through them again and again as we live, as we grow, as we grieve, and as we awaken. They do not mean something is wrong with us. It means that we are human. That's the whole point. And each one, when met with awareness, they become a teacher. And when we move through the first 4 powers, something important becomes clear. Nothing has gone wrong. Darkness arrives to rest us. Craving arises to remind us that we are alive. Ignorance appears when we forget our own truth, and craving for death comes when the soul is simply exhausted. And each of these movements is human. Each one belongs. But if the soul cannot remember itself within these experiences, if darkness is feared, if craving is shamed, if ignorance convinces us we are broken, if exhaustion is met with judgment instead of care, the soul begins to search for meaning outside of itself. And this is where we cross into the next terrain, the 5th power, the kingdom of flesh. And it arises when the soul begins to believe that this is all there is. This is all there is? That reminds me of a song. Is that all there is? And I think it's something, and if that's all there is, my friends, then I'll keep dancing, bring out the booze. Okay, I could be making this up, but anyways, I digress. So the 5th power arises when the soul begins to believe that this is all there is, that life is only survival, that the body is all we are, that pain is forever, that meaning must be earned or escaped toward. When soul forgets its depth, it clings to what it can see, touch, control, and measure, not because it's weak, but because it's trying to stay alive. Whew. So yeah, that is not a fall. It is a coping. And Mary names this moment clearly. The kingdom of the flesh is not about the body being sinful. It is about the soul forgetting the body is sacred. It is the belief that we are only matter. Circumstances define us. The physical world has the final word. And there is no deeper current moving through our lives. So in this place, spirituality, whatever, belief becomes effort. Joy becomes conditional. Purpose becomes something we must find instead of something we inhabit. So, and yet, this power is not a punishment. It's a threshold. Being human is not the point. I think you're starting to get the point. It is the point. We are here to be human. And this is where Mary leads us, not away from the world, but deeper into it. This power, the kingdom of flesh, arises when the soul begins to believe. So it arises when the soul begins to believe that we are only our bodies, that survival, fear, control, productivity, define our reality. The kingdom of flesh whispers, this is just how life is. You are your circumstances. You are your history. What you can see and touch is all that matters. And when we live from this place, we become disconnected not from God, but from ourselves. So how does it show up in every day? Well, the kingdom of the flesh isn't abstract. It shows up in the most ordinary ways. It'll show up when it's expressed through the ego. It would sound like, I'll rest when everything is done. If I slow down, I'll fall behind. My worth comes from what I produce. I should be happier than I am. There's that should. Other people seem to have it figured out, and why don't I? That's how it'll show up when it's expressed through the ego. And in this place, the body becomes something to manage, to push, to override. Rest feels earned. Joy feels conditional. Presence feels unproductive. And it also shows up in how we relate to the body itself. The kingdom of the flesh can also sound like there's something wrong with my body. My body's failing me. If my body looked different, I'd be okay. I should be more disciplined with my body. My body is an obstacle instead of a home. Here, the body becomes an object to evaluate rather than a living, breathing expression of the soul. Instead, we watch it, we judge it, we compare it, we try our darnest to control it instead of listening to it. Soul-led remembering will sound much different. So when we remember this power through the soul, the eyes of the heart, it'll sound like, my body is not the problem. It is the messenger. I can live in my body without needing to fix it. Being alive is enough. I can feel pain and still be whole. Both can reside together. Nothing about my humanity disqualifies me from the divine. Here, the body is not something to overcome. It is a place where remembering happens. The kingdom of the flesh begins when we stop inhabiting our bodies and start judging them. So in this remembering, the body becomes a doorway instead of an obstacle. Life becomes something we inhabit, not something we endure or survive. And when we forget this, when the body is treated as a problem to fix or overcome, we begin to believe that being human is a barrier to the divine, to the source. And so we try to rise above our lives instead of living them. We seek transcendence instead of presence. We chase instead of inhabiting our bodies, instead of inhabiting our relationships and our days. But this teaching reminds us of something different. The way in is not escape, it is embodiment. The sacred is not found by leaving the human experience, but by entering it more fully. This is what this teaching restores. Mary Magdalene's wisdom reminds us of something absolutely radical and wonderful and deeply healing. The body is not the problem. Being human is not a mistake. Life is not something to rise above, it is something to enter. The kingdom of the flesh becomes a teacher when we stop rejecting it. When we stop trying to bypass pain, emotion, desire, and limitation. When we stop believing we must be more than human to be worthy. This power invites us to reclaim the body as a place of wisdom. Great wisdom. This power invites us to remember that joy does not need justification. It invites us to stop searching for purpose and begin living. Life isn't waiting for you. This power invites us to trust that the divine is already woven into our breath, into our grief, into our pleasure, into our ordinary days. Yes, it lives in the Muggle world. We are not failing because we struggle. No. We are not lost because we feel tired. No. You are not disconnected because you crave meaning. You are human. And that is the point. So, yeah, this is why we gather here, to learn these and remember these powers. We are not here to fix ourselves. We are here to remember. The kingdom of the flesh teaches us how to stop fighting life and start inhabiting it. How to stop outsourcing meaning and how to stop waiting for permission to belong. When we accept our humanity, something softens, something settles, and something holy returns. And that is where these teachings take us, not away from the world, but deeper into it. Deeper even still. Because when we truly arrive in our lives, we realize we were never meant to escape being human. We were meant to live it fully. The soul does not escape the body. The soul awakens within it. So good. Oh, so good. I think it's good anyways. Remember, I'm only sharing what I know, and you take what resonates and you forget the rest. This is a great time to pause and maybe do a little reflection. Maybe do a journal, little journaling here. I have a couple prompts for you that might be helpful, just to see how the kingdom of flesh shows up for you. And don't judge it, just listen to it. Be the sacred observer. Take a few breaths and just feel the support within you. So a question I would start with is, where in your life are you trying to escape your humanity, your human experience, instead of inhabiting it? I'll word it in this way. Where in my life am I trying to escape my human experience instead of inhabiting it? And it can show up in many ways. It could be like pushing through exhaustion instead of resting. It could be numbing with scrolling. I do that. Busying ourselves with food, with substances. It could be show up in a way of using spirituality to bypass grief, anger, or discomfort. Constantly self-improving or fixing yourself. Judging your body, its shape, its energy. Comparing your inner life to someone else's outer life. Avoiding difficult conversations. Searching for clarity, purpose, enlightenment. treating emotions like obstacles rather than information, waiting for life to feel different. So just take your time, pause here. Where in my life am I trying to escape my humanity, my human experience, instead of inhabiting it? And you're here just to observe. And good. And at this point, you might want to pause if you're driving, but I'm going to take you on a guided visualization, entering the kingdom of the flesh. It's always nice to even have oracle cards on the side if you want more insights that might help you with your journaling, might give you extra insights, and for after this visualization. So let's dive in. So I invite you to close your eyes or soften your gaze, whatever you're comfortable with, and begin by bringing your attention to your breath. You're not changing it, just noticing. Feel the inhale arrive and feel the exhale release, soft and easy. I might want to do 3 breaths. Again, you can drop down into your body, breathing in with the intention of connecting to your body. And the second breath, connecting to the eye of the heart, breathing in. And the third breath, connecting to the divine within, breathing in. Now bring your awareness down into your body. Notice where your body is supported, either by a chair or the floor or the earth beneath you. Let yourself arrive here. There's nowhere else you need to go or be. Just right here within your body. Now imagine and visualize that you're standing at a threshold of your own life. Not above it, not outside of it, but right here in the middle of it. This is the kingdom of the flesh. Notice what it feels like to be in a body. The weight of you, the warmth, the sensations that are present without effort. There's no need to judge what you feel. Nothing needs to be changed. Simply notice. Now gently place one hand over your heart and one hand somewhere else on your body that feels natural, such as your belly, your thigh, anywhere. And let this be a quiet gesture of listening. Silently here and now. And in your mind's eye, you may want to say, I am allowed to be here. I am allowed to be here. I am allowed to be here. And feel how your body responds, or doesn't. Both are welcome. Now imagine and visualize that your body is not an obstacle, but a doorway. a place where wisdom lives. And if there's a sensation, emotion, or a feeling present, let it be exactly as it is. No fixing, no rising above, no escaping, just being. And take one more slow breath in and gently offer this intention. I choose to inhabit my life. I choose to inhabit my life. I choose to inhabit my life. Feel the simplicity of that choice. Breathe that in and breathe that out. And when you're ready, begin to bring your awareness back to the room you're in. Wiggle your fingers or toes. Let your eyes open softly. And carry this remembering within you, not away from the world, but deeper into it. Good. If you happen to have a cards, you can shuffle your cards and ask, what does my soul want me to know right now? Actually, maybe I'll shuffle a deck here for us. I do have the Mary Magdalene Oracle by Megan Watterson. It's a beautiful deck. The artwork is actually by a lovely soul here in Calgary, I believe. Yeah, isn't that something? I have to double check that, so don't quote me on it, but I believe so. Yeah. Oh, illustrations by Moon Jube, and they're beautiful. I do believe she's from here at Calgary, or Alberta anyways. I find that interesting. That's where I live, if you're not too sure where I live. Just in the foothills of Alberta. We're not all rednecks, and nothing wrong with that either. I'm married to one. Okay, I digress. Okay. Let's see. What is the message? Dear sweet soul, I should focus. What would you have me know? Have me to know? Let's see. Oh, this is a beautiful card for us. This is angels. Look at the artwork. It's beautiful. Angels. I've never been alone. I've never been alone. So let's see what Megan Watterson's book says here. Angels. Let's see. So it says Mary Magdalene loved equally Christ's physical body and his intangible soul. So after Christ is crucified by the Roman Empire, she does searching for his body in the dark alone, or she goes searching for his body in the dark alone. And after she finds the tomb empty, she starts weeping because Mary, like Christ, is also human. And according to the Gospel of John, a voice then asks Mary, "Why are you weeping?" And Mary looks up to see who asked her this question, and she can suddenly perceive two angels standing before her. And they're standing at the places where Christ's head and feet had been. She tells them that she's weeping because they have taken Christ's body away and she doesn't know where. And the angels are facing her so they can see who is already standing behind her as she's speaking. She's standing there thinking she is without Christ. And when they can see clearly that he is right there beside her. Mary turns then and hears Christ ask the exact same question the angels ask her. Why are you weeping? She doesn't recognize Christ at first. She thinks he's the gardener. So she asks him if he took Christ's body away. And Christ then says, Mary. And in hearing her name and his voice, Mary knows immediately who is standing before her. And she's just She says Rabboni, I believe. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. And she exclaims, which is ancient Hebrew for teacher. So I'll have to look that up. Sorry. Remember, I'm dyslexic. Anyway, here we are. This moment is the memory that we're never alone, even as we are weeping on our knees in the dark. All the love we can ever imagine is already right here, where love remains, within the human heart. This moment is the memory that love is stronger than death. This moment is the memory that it's often when we're at our most human, heartbroken, vulnerable, that the angels can finally be heard. This moment is the memory that the energy of love is a bridge between the worlds. The paradox in being human is that when we're humble enough to feel the depths of our grief, we are directly connected to the experience of how love never ends. We are directly connected to all the love that constantly calls out to us, invisibly from within. Wow, isn't that beautiful? We are never alone, and we can connect with the good, the creator, the divine, the angels, all, Christ, right here within us. I love that. What a perfect card. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed that. It was a little bit different. And we will now close. So a little closing prayer. So again, let's just take a pause in gratitude for what has been shared and spoken or unspoken, seen or unseen, and take a deep breath in and exhale, releasing anything that no longer is needed to carry with you. And you may want to place your hands to your eye of your heart and feel the steady rhythm there, ancient, faithful, alive, sacred. This is the heartbeat of the spark of remembrance that has always lived within you. Now, for a moment, just imagine that soft glow in your chest, a gentle light that expands with every breath, reminding you of your own wisdom, your belonging, your truth. And from this place of fullness, gather any prayers, intentions, or hopes you carry and hold them gently there, not with effort, but with trust. And on your next exhale, I invite you to send them upwards, out into the world, and inward to all places in need of love, healing, and clarity. And may these prayers travel where they are needed most, and may they ripple outward in compassion and grace. And now, with gratitude, we release the elements to the north, earth beneath our feet. We thank you for your steadiness and support. To the west, waters of feeling and release. Thank you for your flow and healing. And to the south, fire of life and transformation. Thank you for your warmth and courage. And to the east, the breath and wind and wisdom. Thank you for your clarity and new beginnings. And to below and above, to the roots that hold us and the skies that inspire us. Thank you. And to the center and self, the sacred meeting place within. Thank you. Go if you must, stay if you will. We release you now with love. And as you rise from the circle, may your path be gently illuminated. May truth meet you with kindness. I can't speak right now. And may what is ready to fall away do so with grace. And may the wisdom of your heart guide you home. The circle is open, but never broken. Merry meet, merry part, merry meet again. Thank you for joining me. Blessed be, magical souls. Mwah!